Welcome back. Tonight, we continue our build-up to the big Manny Pacquiao fight in Macau on November 24th. Local boxer Rex, the Wonder Kid So, is on the undercard. Last month, the young fighter lived out a dream, training with the Pac-Man in the Philippines. And Jameson Wong joins us now to tell us more.
Chris, we were with Manny and Rex in the Philippines, and what an experience it was for Rex So, learning from his idol and seeing firsthand what it takes to be a champion. And this up-and-coming star is on his way to making some history of his own. There was no way you were going to wipe the smile off of his face. There, just a few feet away, his boxing idol, former pound-for-pound king Manny Pacquiao. Not only that, but Rex So also got some pointers from the Pac-Man's trainer, Freddie Roach. Not bad for the 26-year-old who turned pro just 2 years ago. When we first met Rex, he was in the middle of 8 weeks of training in the Philippines for his upcoming fight in Macau on the Pacquiao undercard. He would have preferred to stay at home to prepare for the big fight, but that wasn't an option. Here in Hong Kong, it's hard to find any kind of organized boxing. Oh, there are the occasional white-collar events whereby blokes like me get a chance to live out a fantasy. But for Rex, a professional fighter, going after his dream hasn't been easy. Before every fight, Rex trains in the Philippines due to a lack of real sparring partners in Hong Kong. But the arrangement has worked out as the super flyweight boasts a 10-0 record and the WBC Asia Council Continental belt. And if he were really trying here, we all know how this would have turned out. Back in Hong Kong, we talked about his start in boxing.
Because my family, my father, my brother is an amateur boxing champion. So I start 5 years old. My father started teaching me how to boxing.
And there's a good chance the city's only professional boxer could follow in the footsteps of Hong Kong's Li Lai Shan or Sarah Lee, both world champions. A world title fight could come soon.
All boxer, the dream is a world champion. So I also is a world champion, but I hope maybe 1 year later I will try to fight the world title.
First things first, the Wonder Kid takes on a 22-year-old Thai fighter in Macau in 10 days after ending the boxing hopes of the newsman. Truth be told, I didn't land one punch. And thanks to Rex that I'm able to stand here before you today. Now, as for the main event between Manny Pacquiao and Brandon Rios, we've got you covered. Lots of events are planned for next week. And Chris, Rios arrived in Macau today. Pac-Man gets here sometime next week.
Jameson Wong, nice moves.
Thank you.
I didn't know. Youth unemployment in many parts of the European Union is reaching crisis levels. As James Aiken reports, growing anger over the situation is setting off alarms among European leaders.
One by one, European Union leaders arrived at France's presidential palace yesterday for a summit on youth unemployment. They've been looking for ways to keep a very bad unemployment problem from getting even worse. Youth unemployment now stands at almost 24%. So the goal was to send a message to the millions looking for work that help is on the way.
S'il y a 3 mots qu'il faut retenir de notre sommet.
Speed, solidarity, and quality were the talking points after the meeting. French President François Hollande offered assurances that younger job seekers will not be abandoned and that job creation schemes will be effective. No new programs were announced, but there is optimism that economic recovery will improve job prospects with plans already in place. And a lot of money is being thrown at the problem. 45 billion euros has been promised for apprenticeship, training, and education over the next 2 years. But is it enough? Not nearly, according to the General Secretary of the European Youth Forum. Giuseppe Porcaro says job guarantees for young people will cost almost 4 times as much as the amount countries will be given under the Youth Employment Initiative incentive scheme. And while there is no obvious villain in the unemployment story, a critical spotlight is starting to shine on Germany, which is under pressure to stimulate more domestic demand. The European Commission is considering a probe of Germany's record surplus for economic imbalances that may be hindering job growth. As high unemployment lingers in much of Europe, there is a growing sense that the EU is part of the problem, not part of the solution. Governments worry that sentiment could lead to more violent protests and social unrest, driving voters into the arms of far-right groups and anti-EU parties. James Aiken, TVB News.
Former Chief Justice Andrew Lee has spoken out against those who believe a judicial review could help resolve the dispute involving free TV licenses. Vicky Kung has that story.
Debate has been raging on what's the best way to put an end to the dispute involving the government's free TV licensing decision. Businessman Ricky Wong's Hong Kong television network has cried foul after it was denied a license. Lawmakers last week rejected the use of the Legislative Council Powers and Privileges Ordinance to look into the controversy. The government and certain Executive Council members have suggested a judicial review instead.
My exact words was,
But today, former Chief Justice Andrew Lee called that ironic.
I thought it a bit ironic because some of the people who are now urging that there should be judicial review are people who have commented there's too much judicial review in Hong Kong.
Lee also doesn't believe complex political issues should be handled by the court.
The court cannot solve the problems for you because these problems are political, social, and economic. The court can only determine on the limits of legality, including whether there is any procedural impropriety.
And when asked about the Occupy Central movement, Lee said demonstrations don't have to be illegal in order to be effective. He cited the massive 2003 protests that led to the government withdrawing controversial national security legislation. Vicky Kong, TVB News.
Just days after the government warned of a shortage of commercial space, one of the key players in the retail market reported a decline in its tenant retention rate. Still, the Link REIT sees potential for growth in the sector. Joel De Silva reports.
With all the talk about a shortage of residential homes, it may be easy to overlook the lack of commercial space here. Business rents have been going up, while the number of premises available has declined. Today, the interim financial report by the Link REIT shows a slight drop in its retention rate from around 80% to just over 76% year on year. Still, the CEO of the Link Real Estate Investment Trust, George Hong Choi, sees no connection between the slight drop in its retention rate and rising rents. And he explains that as rental contracts expired and new contracts were being negotiated, comparing retention data on a 6-month basis may not represent an accurate picture. Meanwhile, rental revenues continue to grow.
Retail rental performance continued to be strong during the period. This was driven by the strong tenant sales and favorable retail market. Rental income from retail properties increased by 8.4% year on year.
Overall, the Link REIT reported robust financial results for the 6 months ended on the 30th of September. It reported a 14% rise in distributable income to $1.85 billion.
The Link points to the rising income of Hong Kong households, the historically low unemployment rate, and the increase in tourist arrivals from the mainland as key drivers of growth in the Hong Kong retail market.
The Link expects rents to go up in the near future, but did not predict by how much. Joel De Silva, TVB News.
Right, Chris, over to you for some basketball action.
Yeah, to start us, thanks. NBA and the Miami Heat improved to 5-3 in the season. LeBron James scored 33 points in the Heat's win over the Milwaukee Bucks. It was 118-93. Michael Beasley chipped in with 19 points off the bench.
10 points for Durant. He's in double figures. And James hits
And a scary moment during a Harlem Globetrotters exhibition game in Honduras. William Bullard suffered a cut on his forehead when the backboard and rim came crashing down on him after a dunk. He was not seriously injured.
And finally, art lovers at a Christie's auction in New York City have reached new heights in eccentricity. A 3-panel painting by Francis Bacon, called The 3 Studies of Lucian Freud, now holds the title for the most expensive work of art ever sold. A collector paid a jaw-dropping $142 million for it. The final bid for the 1969 piece blew away a pre-sale estimate of $85 million. And that's our show. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Good evening. It was cloudy with some rain again today. At 5 p.m., a slightly cooler northeast monsoon was affecting the coastal areas of Guangdong. And today's temperatures ranged from 19.7 to 21.3 degrees, and the relative humidity was between 86 to 100%. The current temperature is now standing at 20.5 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity is at 85%. 3.9 millimeters of rain has been recorded since midnight. So, Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow? Mainly cloudy with a few light rain patches at first tomorrow, then sunny intervals during the day. Temperatures will range from 19 to 23 degrees. We'll have slightly cooler mornings and sunny periods in the following few days. Tomorrow's API is forecast at 20 to 75, and the air pollution level will range from low to high. The maximum UV index forecast for tomorrow will be about 4. And now to the latest global weather update. Showers in Shanghai and Taipei, cloudy in Xiamen. Cloudy in Guangzhou and Chengdu, showers in Macau. Sunny in Beijing, cloudy in Seoul and Tokyo. Rain in Bangkok, Ho Chi Minh City and Manila. Thunderstorms in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, rain in Jakarta. Sunny in New Delhi, Karachi and Mumbai. Sunny in Cairo, bright in Nairobi. Thunderstorms in Brisbane, sunny in Sydney and Auckland, showers in Melbourne. Cloudy in Toronto, sunny in New York. Cloudy in Vancouver, sunny in San Francisco and Los Angeles. It's bright in London, thunderstorms in Paris, rain in Amsterdam, cloudy in Frankfurt, showers in Zurich. And that's the weather. Have a lovely evening.